Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Over 90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to handle bill pay processes. Why? Because our tools are built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. We're not just moving money. We're powering financial workflows for 500,000 customers. That's a level of expertise you just can't fake. Ready to talk with an expert? Visit Bill.com/proven to get started and grab a $250 gift card as a thank you. Terms and conditions apply. See offer page for details.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of a therapist and an attorney. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
All right. So we are continuing our coverage of Sister Wives. This is season 5, episode 3. This episode is entitled More Sister Wives. So before we go on our playcation, as they called it, with the Dargers, which
Dargers.
is Dargers.
Dargers.
It's the weirdest name because you think that they're mispronouncing it, but they're not. Darger. What is it?
You're putting too much emphasis on it.
I can't say the name.
Darger.
Darger.
Yeah. Darger.
Darger. Anyway, they're a scary group.
Well, I kind of like them. They're better than the Browns. I really like.
If you so here's my question: who would you rather be married to, Cody Brown or Joe Darger?
Joe.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
I think I'd pick Cody.
Joe is a man. He is.
Joe is a man.
Joe is a man. He is decisive. He is in control, and not in a bad way. I don't think. Well, I don't know what you think is so sinister about him.
Okay, so
he has some political things. I'm not
okay,
but just strictly on what I saw in this episode. He's a very loving husband. He's physically affectionate with all of them.
Well, okay.
And they're
just from this episode, maybe, but I've heard some other things about them.
Well, don't ruin my fantasy.
I'm sorry. You want to be wife number 4?
You know what? I would consider it.
Really?
Most of those kids are probably grown up and gone by now, right?
Would you share your kitchen?
Yes, I don't have a problem sharing a kitchen. And if other people want to cook for me, I don't care. Yeah. I don't care what they do in the kitchen.
What's wrong with all these women? Like, I don't want to share a kitchen. I'd be thrilled if I never had to step in a kitchen again.
The only reason that the Browns can't share a kitchen is because Meri traumatized
poor Janelle,
and she's never gotten over it and has, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I liked them.
I've heard some rumblings on some Facebook groups where I've seen people talk about this family, because this family really was around this time. They were working on trying to get spinoffs of doing their own shows, and that apparently this family is very dysfunctional.
Really? How?
Yeah. That apparently the women are quite anorexic, that they have a lot of food issues, that they don't have a very good relationship with food, that he pits them against each other a lot, that they're not as happy, healthy as they seem, that apparently when they get in fights, that he'll have very loud sex, with each other.
Well, how do people know this?
I don't know. This is what I've heard. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm choosing not to believe that.
Okay.
I'm choosing to believe.
All I know
what I
is
saw.
his kids seem quite afraid of him. His kids seem to
Afraid?
they seem afraid, and they don't seem to like him very much.
Maybe they just respect him, and because
they respect him or they fear him.
Well, what do you think? He beats his kids into submission?
No, I think they think he's an asshole. I think they think he's an asshole. Cody's kids disrespect him. Joe's kids think he's an asshole. That's the vibe I got.
Oh, okay.
But you seem to really like Joe.
From what I saw in this episode, that's all I
liked
know.
His organizational skills.
Look, compared to Cody.
Oh yeah, well, the organization.
If we're just comparing, and also, he's not. I didn't find him to be cocky like Cody. I found him to be just very straightforward. Like, this is what it takes, and this is what we have to do. And I would love to see what his relationships are with his children now, because Cody has like no relationships with any of his kids except for Robin's kids, who are forced to live with him or whatever. But I don't know.
Okay, listen. If I had to go on a road trip, I would want to go with the Dargers, because Dargers. I would want to go with them because I would get there in a reasonable amount of time.
In
the whatever length of time it would take. Browns would take days.
Right.
You break down, you never get there, that kind of thing.
I bet you Joe Darger has never had a flat tire.
Oh, I'm sure.
His cars are kept up impeccably.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he's never been late. I'm sure there's never fights about where anybody's sleeping.
No.
Well, I'm sure it's all very organized. I am sure of all of those things. But
he has a job. He has a real job.
Yeah.
He's
what does he do?
Well, they said something about he went to business school because he was talking about what the mission statement.
Yes. Oh, God. And then I was like, oh, God, this is the beginning of the mission statement.
He learned about that in business school. I think he has some kind of a financial type job, like a real job.
Okay.
So I don't know. I like that. I think that's sexy when a guy is like, he's not wishy-washy. He is in charge. The trains run on time. That's just my type.
I'm sorry.
I'm a lawyer. I like
well,
order.
He's not at all like anyone you've ever dated, Brooke.
No,
but okay,
no.
But in your as you get older, you're really
I'm older and wiser.
You're picking different. Okay,
I have learned my lessons.
You have. Yeah. Ooh, boy. Okay. All right. So we start off, but before we get to the show talk, we start off by going to each of the wives' houses because they are starting to work on the plans for the house. And we're first at Christine's house, and they're working on the plans because Christine wants as many bedrooms as possible. That's her biggest thing. She wants many, many bedrooms. And then we have a scene with Christine and with Janelle and Cody. Janelle doesn't want any bedrooms.
Right. Was Cody there? I thought she was just there with Mona.
Oh, no. This is a different time. This is a different time.
So they've done this twice now, I feel like.
No. But each time, it's like they're at each individual house.
Okay.
At their own home. So they're looking at plans. So Christine's looking at plans with Cody. Now Janelle's looking at plans with Cody.
Okay.
So she doesn't want bedrooms at all. She doesn't...
People can just... You know how she has all those couches?
Yes.
People can just flop down on a couch, just sleep wherever you fall asleep. On the floor. Savannah can sleep on the floor.
Yeah. And then she doesn't believe that kids need their own rooms. This is Janelle's belief. Like, whatever, you don't need your own room.
Yeah.
And then we get to Robin, and Robin's big priority is she wants the pantry and, of course, the hobby room. And she, of course, wants the extra room because she wants to have more kids.
Yeah.
And then the best is we get to Meri, and what does Meri want? The wet bar.
The wet bar. That's it. I don't care what else is in here. First thing out of her mouth, the wet bar. It's like, oh, God, Meri, we know. We know you want the goddamn wet bar. But, I have to say, Robin, I know she has more kids and whatever, but she also wants the pantry and the hobby room and the extra bedroom. So, and no one's really mad at her.
But she now has 4 kids. And she does want, and they do, and I think they know realistically that she probably will have more, and she does. She has a 5th kid.
Yeah.
I mean, that is much more realistic. I mean, she's got this babysitter. I mean, that's
they need a room for the nanny.
Yeah. I mean, which is so ridiculous, but that is much more realistic than, and her kids are little. I mean, she's got a baby.
Right.
That is so much more realistic than one kid that's leaving in less than 2 years.
Oh, I know. Forget I said anything.
Yeah. So they're all very excited because they're going on a pligcation with the Dargers.
So there's like 50 people.
Yes.
Between the two families. The Dargers have 25 and the Browns have, I don't know, 22 or 23.
Yeah. There's 23. Wait, they have 20. So there's Joe. There's
3 wives.
Alina, Vicki, and Valerie. Vicki and Valerie are sisters.
Twin
sisters. So Joe married Alina and Vicki on the same day. And then
10 years later.
And then 10 years later, he married Valerie's twin sister.
No, Vicky's twin sister.
Vicky's twin sister, Valerie. And then they all have they combined have 23 children. So some of these children are actually
21.
Oh, 21, not 23?
If there's 25 of them total, I don't know.
Oh, I thought they had 23 kids altogether, but
I don't know.
But some of these kids are from Valerie's previous relationship.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they're all going with the Browns to Oceanside, California, which is down near San Diego, site of Cody and Robin's
the 11-day honeymoon. Well, and what I thought was weird is Alina, she introduces herself as the first wife, and Vicki introduces herself as the second wife, yet they were married on the same day.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is where I really lost the thread when we sat down and started talking about the two of them and how all of this came about. I mean, I lost the thread many times because I was so confused about how it was that Joe ended up courting these two women at the same time.
Well, they decided. So Alina and Vicki were friends, like girlfriends. This is like they're in high school. Mm-hmm. They both liked Joe.
Okay, and so are they Mormons?
I don't know.
Because they're independent polygamists, right? They're not part of some organized religion. So are they Mormons?
I have no idea because that independent polygamist threw me off. I don't really know what that means. But they must have, to even have the idea that they would both marry him. I don't know. Did they just come up with this? Is this just two high school girls saying, hey, we both like him. We can both marry him. Or did they have a polygamous background? Because remember, I forget which one of them it is, but the father, I think it was Alina, the father wouldn't give permission for a very long time for them to get married. So obviously he's not a polygamist. So maybe did they just come up with this idea? And did Joe have a background in polygamy?
I don't think so. And I don't think he had a background.
These are just like three wacky kids who decide like...
That's why this whole story felt so bizarre to me. I was just kind of like, what is
I think they just both liked Joe. They're best friends. They decided to both pursue him. Mm-hmm. And so I guess they let him know, like, hey,
but I felt like someone told them, someone said didn't someone tell them that they could both pursue him at the same time?
No, I think they said it was their idea.
Okay.
I believe. Very weird, though. But so finally, Alina's father, I don't know what Vicki and Valerie's parents thought of all this.
Well, because don't forget, Valerie, who's the one that came in later.
Yeah, she married somebody else.
Valerie was in a plural marriage before.
Oh.
So Valerie, because she divorced, she was in another marriage. Valerie was in a plural marriage. So that family, the twins,
they have to have some kind of
polygamous something. So I think they were already accepting of it. I think Alina's family,
right? She came into it.
I think that father said, okay, I'm not going to approve of this, but I'm going to say, okay, fine. And then they were like, great, let's get married, and he approves. And then Joe says, okay, then I got down on one knee that day and said, okay, will you marry me, to both of them.
Yeah.
And then they both got married. And I'm thinking to myself, so you're all supposed to save yourselves for the wedding night. So
How did that work?
How does that work?
So Joe had to have 2 sessions?
Yeah.
One with each of them?
I mean, how does that work? Because that's odd. And then this part really, really, really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So then we're bebopping along. It's 10 years, 12 years later. Valerie, who is Vicki's twin sister, who Joe knows and has had a very friendly sister-in-law relationship
that's his sister-in-law.
That's his sister-in-law. We're bebopping along. And then one day, she and Joe see each other across the room, and they have a moment. This is how they explain it, people.
I know.
This is how it's explained. They have a moment, they lock eyes, and they think to themselves, oh, something changed. And then they go into this whole story about how something changed in their lives, and then something opened up for them. And
Valerie wasn't happy in her marriage,
yes.
obviously.
But it's a little bit like, okay, and then did you then get divorced?
What did you do? Yeah, did you talk about it? Who did you talk about it with? Did you bring it up with your 2 wives before you started talking to Valerie? It's very vague. Yeah, the timeline, the circumstances, everything about it is very vague. Probably on purpose, because it's probably a pretty creepy story.
Yeah, I think it was. Because I think probably most likely one of the 2 of them were like, I have feelings for so-and-so.
Yeah.
And I bet you anything she was in a spiritual marriage with this other person. So
right.
it's real easy to leave.
She can just leave.
She'd probably peace out, bye.
Yeah.
And I think all of a sudden it was like, well, Valerie's joining us. And I bet you anything. You're Joe, who you like so much. I bet you anything. Joe's like, Valerie's looking pretty good.
Well, obviously, she's the twin of his wife.
Valerie's looking pretty good. We're attracted to each other, and she's not happy in her marriage. Mm-hmm. I want to spiritually marry her. I got a testimony. God told me
the testimony.
I got a testimony. God told me that she and I need to be together. So, she and I are going to get spiritually married now, and you are all going to accept this, and here she comes.
But if they're independent polygamists and there's not a religious component to it, then he wouldn't get the testimony and all that stuff from God because he doesn't believe in that.
Okay, but he got whatever he needed to get.
Look, Joe,
it's still a bunch of bullshit.
Joe decided he wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Vicki was like, yeah, who wouldn't want their sister to be their sister wife? I mean, I don't know. Maybe, she can spend more time with her sister. They sort of out now.
Okay, would you want to share a husband? Not my husband. I don't think you want to share. But like, would you really want that? That seems like a lot.
If I was into polygamy, then why not? I mean, I'm not into polygamy, so I wouldn't agree to that now. But it's like, if I were into it, then why not have your sister? If you have a good relationship with your sister, then it makes for...
I don't know. It feels also too close to comfort. I don't know.
Yeah, you're sleeping with the same guy. That's weird.
It all feels odd. See, you're twins. It all just feels so weird.
Well, twins can be weird.
It's all
they
just
do weird
odd.
things sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so that's their story.
That story just felt like it had a lot of holes. It was very vague.
Yeah.
I could not track it, and that's when I was like, "Ooh, there's something off about this."
So they're driving. The Dargers are driving to Las Vegas, and before they leave, of course, Joe assigns everyone their vehicle they're going to be in, what seat they're going to be in.
This was the best.
What their tasks are for loading the car.
Yeah, very organized.
Very organized. They all listen to him, respect him.
Yep.
They're not all yelling, running around, chaos. None of that.
Yeah.
It looked great.
Yeah. I mean,
great.
this I understand. I'm with you on this one because listen, you do need someone to be in charge of this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they drive, I don't know where they live, somewhere in Utah, maybe.
They're in Utah. I don't know where in Utah, though.
So they drive, there's 50 people who are going to be at Meri's house for dinner.
Oh, Lordy.
So I don't know how the Browns managed to organize that.
Yeah. They did, though.
And the Brown wives, they love Joe too. Christine gushes. She just wants to just jump on his lap. She wants to jump his bones. She thinks that he is just the bee's knees.
Well, but she sees Joe, and she sees how affectionate Joe is with his wives. I mean, Christine's so desperate for anything.
She's so desperate.
For affection, for love, for anything, that she's just like, she's dying.
Yeah.
Just dying here.
Yeah.
So, but the best is they get to the Browns. I don't know what the Browns were serving them, but they sit down, and Joe is already annoyed. So he's like, what time are we leaving?
Yeah.
And so, of course, Cody's like, I don't know, 8, 10. And of course, Joe's antenna's already
up right away.
He's like, nope.
No.
If we're leaving at 8, we're leaving at 8. If we're leaving at 10, we're leaving at 10.
Yeah. He's like, don't say you're going to be ready at 8, and then we're leaving late. And So he's put the fear of God in Cody.
Yes.
This is probably the only time in their entire lives they were on time in the morning, because Joe would be pissed. But
Meri likes it. Meri likes it too.
Meri likes
She's
his organization.
Janelle hates it. Janelle thinks he's a jerk. I think Janelle doesn't like it, but Meri likes it and Christine likes it.
Yeah, and so they're going to Oceanside, like you said, and they rented these 2 beach houses. Now, Joe has already downloaded the floor plan of the house they're staying in.
Yes.
And he's already assigned rooms.
Okay, but you know what's so funny is all the adults get around and they're trying to figure out, like, okay, how do we do this? And Cody's like, well, let's divide up kitchens. And they're like, no, Cody, no. Let Joe do it. They just like slap him down immediately. Like, divide up kitchens. Like, that's so stupid.
Well,
like, it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
like,
he's saying first we need to decide like where we're going to be cooking. How many kitchens does this house have?
But it's like 2 houses and 2 kitchens, and it's just like, no, just, you know what? Let Joe handle it.
It looked to me like the houses were separate. There were 2 separate houses right next to each other. So how I highly doubt these houses, even though they're big and they sleep a lot of people. I'm pretty sure there's just one big kitchen.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's talking about. And Cody gets upset and he says, Joe leads his family, and they, meaning his wives, lead mine.
Whatever. No, your wives, they'll follow Joe, because what he was suggesting makes sense,
right?
Which is download. He was smart
figure
enough.
out the sleeping configurations and who's going to sleep where, and the parts of the family.
Well, you know what Joe did was he probably contacted the production company and said, Can you tell me where we're sleeping and where we're going? Oh, great. And he probably looked at the plans and probably thought to himself, oh, how many kids? Where's everything going? Okay, great. Thank you.
Smart. And meanwhile, the Browns are running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
Yeah.
Kind of like housewives picking rooms on a trip.
And being like, this room isn't big enough for me.
Yeah. So then like 50 people descend on this rental shop at the Carlsbad Lagoon.
Yes.
And the guy who's working there is, like, oh, holy shit, what is happening? But he handled it well. But then there's the scene where Christine says she wouldn't mind if some of the kids cross-dated. Some of the Brown kids dated the Darger kids.
I know.
And Cody agrees, because Cody has a boner for Joe, too.
Oh, yes.
Everyone has a boner for Joe.
Oh, yeah.
And Robin says, I know something. And Cody says, I don't forget if she said it explicitly or just...
something about like one of the girls has a thing for one of the Darger boys.
Yeah,
but she was being really coy about it. It was really stupid.
I don't think she really knew anything.
And Cody kept going, "Oh, I know everything. I know everything." It's like, she's not telling you anything, Cody. Like, she doesn't know anything, and you don't know anything.
This is all hearsay. And Cody's he's giddy about it. He's like, one of our girls were eyeing a Darger boy. I mean, God, they're just everyone's so in love with this family.
And then we get everyone. Is this when everyone goes back to the houses, and then we have this whole story from Alina? Which is really
they're sitting out on the there's like a rooftop deck kind of thing, and so Alina said she had a baby at home, or died at home.
She had a child who died at 5 months old.
5 months old.
Because of a heart condition.
And so, the county had to do an investigation because the child has died. And
so I didn't know that. Anytime a child dies at home, no matter what they die of, even if they die from a heart condition, it has to be investigated.
I just think maybe, I don't think every time. I think they probably raised a red flag because, maybe the child had never, been seen by doctors or been to a hospital.
Even though the child had this ongoing medical issue.
I don't know. But
she did say she had a heart condition and multiple other issues.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe there was obviously something that, the coroner or the whoever, took possession of the body. I don't know. They just did an investigation, but I don't think they do it every time. Sometimes there's an explanation for what happened, and I don't know. But anyway, I think it probably had something to do with them being polygamous and that the baby died at home, and so they were just investigating to make sure there was no foul play or whatever. But anyway, she was afraid that they were going to take her other kids too.
Yeah.
And, of course, Cody's incensed by all this.
Yes. And this is why they went public, because... it's actually, Christine asks, is it Christine or was Janelle who asked this question, which is wondering, is it helping that they're public? Is all of this work, all of, them, the Browns going public and them being more public, is this actually helping? And it seems like the answer is there needs to be more polygamists being public, which maybe is the backdoor pilot of these Dargers, which is the world needs more transparency.
Well, and Joe Darger is very active in, I think he was one of the people who brought a major lawsuit. He's very politically active in Utah about these issues. So he's a high profile polygamy person. Yeah.
Got it. So, and so they talk a bit about this, and it's how it affects families and so on. And then we're at the beach.
Boogie boarding.
Yes. And Christine is very jealous of the Darger women and their bodies and how skinny
they're all in good shape and they work out together.
Yes. And
they're affectionate with each other. He's on the beach giving affection to all of them, and they're totally comfortable with that. But the Browns, no. The Browns cannot handle that. They have way too much jealousy in that family.
Yeah.
Way too much. So... on that front,
too much,
the Dargers are a little more healthy.
Or so they say. We don't know. It's not what I saw. But then the teens are going to go off and have milkshakes. So the Darger kids and the Brown kids go off, and they went off to talk about what's it like to be a plague kid.
Yeah.
The same old story.
And guess what? None of the Darger kids want to be polygamists either.
Yeah. So, I had a totally different interpretation. I felt like the kids, especially those older sons, didn't like Joe. I got the vibe that they were kind of afraid their dad. But you didn't see that.
They could have been, what's her name, Valerie's kids from...
Oh, could be from her previous marriage.
Maybe Joe is not there. He would be like a stepfather.
Their bio dad.
Basically.
But he's their uncle.
That's true.
Uncle Dad.
I don't know.
This is my Uncle Dad.
Look, maybe they're just being honest about, this is our dad. This is how he is. It doesn't necessarily mean that if they were scared of him, I don't think they would be saying those things.
I mean, maybe it's not
him.
that. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it could be a million different things. It could be they were showing off for them. It could be they're on TV and they're nervous. It could be that their Uncle Dad is, kind of a jerk. I don't know. Yeah, it could be that he is their uncle and they don't like him and they have a bio dad.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It could just be their teens and they don't like their parents or anybody telling them what to do.
Yeah. Or that he is super controlling and he is annoying. I don't know. And then the adults go out to dinner on their own. And so the Dargers, of course, ask the $1 million question, how are things going living so far apart? And I had to rewind this because I was like, wait, did I just hear this right? So Cody says, and I love this because he leans back in his chair. He leans back and he's like, he's man-spreading and all this stuff. And like, I thought I was going to come to Vegas and, I was just going to find a house, 25,000 square feet with 4 kitchens and 25 bedrooms for pennies.
Pennies on the dollar.
Pennies on the dollar. I'm like, what?
Because
what world are you living in?
Well, because
people build houses like that.
Yeah, this was after the real estate crash. So he thought he could get some foreclosed home, but they don't build homes like that.
But again,
the Queen of Versailles maybe has 4 kitchens.
But the Queen of Versailles still isn't going to build a home with 4 kitchens and 25 bedrooms configured like a polygamist.
Right.
What you are coming to a state that does not have polygamists and looking for a polygamist type home.
Right.
This is insane.
It's insane. It is. But Cody has to explain, why. Has to have some explanation as to why things are so fucked up.
And then he's like, whoa, but you know what? We looked around. They didn't have that. I was shocked. So, they didn't have that. And we looked around, so we just can't figure that out. And so, so here we are, and we go back to this. And so this leads us into this other discussion about sharing kitchens. Oh, God.
Yes.
And I just didn't understand why these women kept coming back around to sharing kitchens.
Well,
why do we keep pushing these sharing kitchen things?
Because it's fascinating. Well, see, Christine said that the family had to do a reset when they came to Vegas. And what I thought she was implying was they had to do a reset because of Robin. Mm-hmm. So they basically had to do something different, go somewhere else, find a different way, because it wasn't going to work with all of them in that big polygamous house and then Robin down the street or whatever. And then one of the Darger wives says, well, next time you're doing a reset, you might want to consider sharing a kitchen. Oh. Like, that was totally set up. Mm-hmm. Like, they told them, bring up this sharing a kitchen.
Oh, okay.
And so Cody says, I have wives who think sharing a kitchen is abusive. Yeah.
I was like, wait. And then I wrote down, wives having the same kitchen is abusive? And I do remember this from the book a bit. And I was just like, but it was so weird because Cody was so serious during this. And he's like, like this thing of like, don't push this on me. Don't push. Yeah. Don't push sharing kitchens on me. And I'm like, God, what is happening here with this kitchen?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Mary's crying.
Mary's crying because she says she takes it personal because she knows that he's talking about her. And she knows that Janelle feels like Meri abused her in the beginning of their family. Because, in the book, they described how basically Meri just complained about everything Janelle did, the way she folded clothes, the way she put away dishes, the soap that she used, what was in the refrigerator. I mean, like, I imagine it was hell for Janelle. Like, every day this woman is nitpicking her on stupid things and being very rude and abusive about it. And Mary's excuse for being that way was that she says, I was raised in a way where I could say what I felt. And so kind of saying, well, I was just telling you how I feel, Janelle. And it's like, that's not an excuse. You were being crazy and rude and making this woman feel unwelcome in her own home and almost probably driving her out and having to bring Christine in to be a buffer for the two of them.
No, but Janelle then left. And the other part, too, is what I think is interesting is if Meri technically, if you go along with that argument, Meri, which is I was raised in a way where I could say what I felt. You grew up in a household with lots of other kids. You seem to have a lot of siblings and all of this. So you, of all people, should know how to get along with people. Right. You should know how to talk to people and get along. So you should know how to tell people how you feel in a kind way. So why couldn't you do this with Meri? Why couldn't you do this with Janelle? Why couldn't you do this with Christine? Why couldn't you do this with Vicki? Why couldn't you do this with Alina? Why couldn't you do this with Darger? Why couldn't you do this with Dargers? 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 Why couldn't you do this with Darg Janelle. So there's a part of me that feels like, no, you were probably a real bitch to her.
Yeah, no, she was jealous.
There was no way that you were just telling her how you feel, or that you were raised in a way where you could just tell people how you feel. Like, I don't think that's necessarily true, that if you were raised in this conservative church way and you had all these siblings, like, I feel like you were raised in a way where you all had to get along and that you probably, maybe you were told to speak out in some ways.
It's an excuse.
Yeah, I was just like,
it's an excuse. It's
something off about
bullshit.
This. Yeah.
It's not true. Meri was jealous. She was jealous, even though she claimed she wanted this polygamous life or whatever. She was jealous.
Yeah.
And she didn't like it when Janelle came in.
Yeah.
And she didn't want Janelle as a sister wife.
And I bet you anything, every time Janelle was like, I'm pregnant, and, I'm pregnant, it was like, you folded the towels wrong. This is wrong. And this is wrong. I mean, I'm sure every time. And, like, I'm pregnant again. The garbage bags are in the wrong cupboard.
Who put this cup here?
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, it's like Joan Crawford.
Yeah. Wire hangers in my house.
And then Meri asks the Dargers, she says, you guys don't worry about how you decorate the house. And then Val says, is it really that important? So again,
is your wet bar?
Exactly. The Dargers, I feel, have more of the spirit of polygamy.
Yes. You are. You are not, listen, you are not wrong that truly, Grace Brown, that truly, that you're right. That I wish I hadn't read those things about them, because I would think about them differently. But you're absolutely right that Meri is not thinking about the family. She is not thinking about the family in this particular way. That right now, the family, she does not need a wet bar. That truly, to entertain the way she wants to entertain, she has plenty of room and plenty of space. Right. I mean, I entertain all the time, and I have like 1,000 square feet. So, and you can certainly entertain.
Yeah, you can make do with less.
You can make do. And she could have just said, okay, can I have a little extra money to do a really nice patio or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, do it outside.
Yeah, there's so many things she could have done. So they're absolutely right. And the decorating and all of that. You're right. Yeah. And when she mentioned, when they talked about this stuff, they're absolutely right.
And Janelle said something interesting when, Meri was trying to, explain why she was such a bitch. Janelle said that Cody had no idea that he should be listening for me, which doesn't really make sense. But she seemed to be trying to come to Cody's defense and, to say that he didn't know that he should have maybe been sticking up for Janelle. It sounds like he just let Meri just run all over Janelle and didn't do anything about it, and probably, told Janelle she had to do this or that.
Cody didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and he brought in Christine. Yeah, that was his solution.
He didn't know. He didn't know that he should have. He
should have stood up to Meri and said, "Knock it off."
Yeah,
like, what the fuck is your problem?
Yeah, he didn't know how to do that.
No.
And that was the problem. So, and this is where we then learn that Joe has a business degree. And so they wrote a family mission statement. And so the Browns decide they too want to do a family mission statement. And it only takes them about 9 seasons to get it together.
To get it done.
To get that done. And so they all are super excited about doing it, except Janelle. Janelle's like, I don't see the problem.
She's like, I don't want to do it, but if you guys want to do it, I'll go along with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and also another thing, Joe was talking about how, they were very intentional about their family. They were reading parenting books and relationship books when they were 18.
Yes.
Yeah, but he seems very, he's just very focused and methodical. And like Cody uses the word architect, like Joe architected his family, which is a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
And Cody is a fireman just putting out fires. And it's like, wow, Cody, that was very astute.
Yeah. No, he's right. And that's what Cody's saying. He's like, I don't want to keep reacting.
Right.
And he does. He says these homes are our first step in planning something for the future. And he is right. Now, I will say that what I do think that Joe needs to, as someone who, reads these kinds of books for a living and talks about this and does all these things, that I don't know if it's great for 18, 19, 20-year-olds to be reading all of these kinds of books. That I think that...
Well, they have no context.
Yeah, I understand about being an architect in your life and making some plans, but you also need some things in your life to be organic, and I do think that the flip side of Joe is that I do also wonder and worry about things. Does Joe allow things to just happen? Mm-hmm. Is too much planned?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
That's what I wonder about him. And I do think that one of the things about the Browns that does make them charming and make them interesting is the fact that things do just happen, and that they are interesting characters because things are interesting about them because things just do happen for them. And I wonder if, the Dargers didn't get a show.
No, it was probably just too boring.
Yeah. And so, Joe, because maybe your life's a little too architect, too planned, too straightforward, too rigid, too this, too that you have to. There isn't an answer for everything in life.
I wonder if the Dargers have a book.
Oh, Lordy, probably.
I kind of feel like they do.
Well, you can read it from your new boyfriend, Joe. Wife 4.
Well, no, I'm too old. I'm too old to be sister wife.
We tune into Psych Legal Pop. It's just me. It's just Psych Pop.
Yeah,
and it's me and Brooks. Brooks like, well, I'm moving to Utah.
I'm living in Utah. Drank the Kool-Aid. I've joined the cult.
Yes.
But
Joe's really great.
Joe's
we had a moment. We looked across the room, and this is just. I got a testimony. Brooks like, I had a testimony and I knew he was the one.
Well, my standards are just so low with Cody, that someone else comes along and of course you're going to think, God, this guy's awesome.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. So we will be back next week with our continued coverage of the Sister Wives Rewind. Keep joining us every Sunday for season 18 of Sister Wives. We will continue to bring you our coverage of this latest season. And and if you are, we just wrapped up, and just like that, the second season. So if you had missed that, please go back and download those episodes, and check out that. Let's see. If you, aren't following us, please follow us on social media at Psych Legal Pop on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. And I think that's it. Just spread the word. Tell a friend. Tell 2 friends. 10 friends. And thank you so much for your support. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Over 90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to simplify and secure bill pay. That's proven financial infrastructure built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. Visit Bill.com/proven for a special offer.